everybody, this is Albert with Green Tea House. I hope you're doing well today. Today we're going to talk about red tea or Rooibos tea. Now before we begin, I highly recommend you check out the previous episodes, especially episode 1 on what is tea and the different teas that come from the Camellia sinensis plant. Newsflash, Rooibos or red tea does not come from this bush, and therefore it is not, by its classic definition, a tea. So we've talked about before how there's 6 teas that come from the Camellia sinensis varieties, either Camellia sinensis or Camellia sinensis assamica, which is grown mostly in India and near the equator. And we get white, green, oolong black, yellow, and pu'er. Rooibos, commonly mispronounced Rooibos, but it's Rooibos, depending on how you listen to a South African pronounce it, does not come from the Camellia sinensis bush. It comes from a completely different plant that is called the Aspalanthus. And the Aspalanthus has a variety of species. And the Aspalanthus, or the Rooibos, is only grown in southern Africa. In particular, it's grown in the country of South Africa on the western side near Cape Town. And so what they do with the Rooibos is they harvest the leaves of this plant, which is not tea. They cut it up, they moisten it, and then they kind of roll it around a little, bruise it a little, kind of like they do with oolongs, and then they oxidize it for a little while, and then they eventually are going to dry it in the sun. Now, Rooibos, as I mentioned, is not a tea. It really should be called a tisane, which is going to be tomorrow's episode, which is what we call herbals. Herbals are really tisanes. But a lot of people don't know this because it's confusing, because look, Rooibos is otherwise known as red tea or red bush tea, and since it has a nickname of a color, red, some people think, oh, well, it's like black tea, yellow tea, green tea, all the colored teas are together. So it's kind of tricky, but it's not a tea. And since it's not a tea per se, because it doesn't come from the Camellia sinensis bush, it doesn't have caffeine. Now, there are some non-tea plants that do have caffeine. You think of yerba mate down from South America, that has a lot of caffeine, but Rooibos or Rooibos is not one of them. So it is a non-caffeinated beverage. Now, what's the taste like? The taste is kind of like an earthy, kind of like a vanilla. It's got a little floral, if you just have the natural Rooibos. Now, we do sell just Rooibos tea, okay, red tea, we just sell it. Everybody likes it differently, and I think a lot of people drink it because they like the kind of earthy vanilla taste that is commonly ascribed to it. And they like it too because it's non-caffeinated, so people will drink it at night. Now, as I mentioned, there's a lot of different ways you can blend Rooibos, and I think probably the most popular way to blend it is to kind of make it into what we would call here in America a chai. Now, chai is just the Indian word for tea. So when we say a chai, what we're really saying, as we talked about in that episode on black teas, it's a black tea mixed with classic chai ingredients, which would be cinnamon and cardamom and cloves. Over there, they would call it a masala chai or a masala tea. And masala just means spice, and there's a lot of different ways in India that they have masala. But over here, it's like what Olive Garden does to Italian food. It's kind of the same thing here. So what we call a chai is really called a masala chai. Now, a masala chai in India does have caffeine because it's made from black tea. So a common kind of variant of that is people like a Rooibos with masala chai ingredients. So we sell this as well, where it's a Rooibos with cinnamon, cardamom, and clove. So it has the taste that kind of mimics a chai, but the great thing is it's not caffeinated. So if you're sensitive to caffeine like I am, some people are not, like high schoolers, they can drink coffee at 10 o'clock and still go to sleep. So for somebody who likes the taste of chai, having a red chai or Rooibos chai is something great because it mimics the taste of a chai, but since it's non-caffeinated, because the plant, the Aspalanthus plant, is non-caffeinated, you can drink it at night. Now, you can drink any type of Aspalanthus or Rooibos tea as is, like I do, or you can mix it with milk and sugar, kind of like you do with a chai. So in short and in closing, Rooibos, South African, non-caffeinated, nickname is red tea, and it does not come from the Camellia sinensis plant. Therefore, we should really not call it a tea. We could call it an herbal or a tisane. Guys, post in the comments. Let me know what you think of Rooibos. Until next time, take care. God bless and pray.